Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome to Cosmos and Chthonia, and this episode is going to take a look at the difference and the similarities between geocentric and heliocentric astrology. I'm Michael, and this is Fran.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Happy to see you. Heliocentric astrology, geocentric astrology, and besides that, we also do introduce our softwares that we are individually using, so that people who are either more used to my style or to Michael's software in use can still get the picture maybe in a more familiar way than otherwise. So I am using astrodienst.com and Michael is using Prometheus. And so there will be a lot presented in this sense. So geocentric astrology means we put the Earth in the middle of a chart. And heliocentric, we do the same, but with the sun. So it's sun-centered, and the other one is Earth-centered. And but of course, it's a fact that the planetary bodies are orbiting the sun. So there is this, let's say, angle of view that we would have, or we do have from Earth when looking at the sky. We don't have that angle when putting the sun in the center of a chart. So, and therefore, we also see the Earth in a chart. Mm-hmm. Right? And because we look at, like, when we look from the Earth, we always look at the sun. Yeah, it's like, okay, direct. And it's like we are talking together, and so we are always opposite, right? And when you generate the chart, heliocentric view, as it's the center for all those orbiting from each planet, when you look at the sun, it's like it's opposite. So when you look at the chart, it's always the geocentric sun is right opposite from the heliocentric Earth. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Besides that, when you look from the sun, then you don't really see where is the moon, right? It's like kind of always conjunct the Earth, because it's the moon is orbiting Earth and not the sun. Yeah. It's like we look at Jupiter, and we are not going to separate all his 80 moons or however many he got, right? Mm-hmm. So we just look at Jupiter system as Jupiter planet, right? So yeah, so it's similar to that. And so there we don't have a moon sign, but the moon is always with Earth. So in this sense, it's a system together, right? Mm. And because there is not this angle of view, there are no retrogrades in heliocentric astrology. Right. There is also something very special going on, actually, when talking about retrogrades. It's the mechanics, that the underlying mechanics of all of it, and that we may discuss in more depth in a future episode, right?
Yeah, why that happens from Earth's point of view, but doesn't happen from the sun point of view. We're going to gloss that now, but yeah, stay tuned. So,
yeah. So what I think is very interesting is when looking at Earth in a chart, we see in one thing, okay, the whole relationship, the geometry that is built, and that Earth, and this in this sense, that, let's say, physical, materialized, incarnate life, or however you want to call that, is not the only thing, but it always stays in relation to all the other parts. And I personally find that when we look from the sun, we can kind of step back and take like the observer view, and maybe be less emotional about things. We can step out and observe, oh, what is going on, yeah, and being less involved, because we can better see the other parts, even those in the back that may sometimes bother us, yeah, or let's say we can actually see the other side of the moon, right?
Which is a great metaphor for a glimpse, being able to see something that you really can't see from an geocentric, earth-centric point of view, because of the forest for the trees. You can't see what's happening here in context from this point of view. You have to step out and look at the system as a whole, which is a heliocentric system.
We not only take a different viewpoint and put that sun into the center, but we also have a different orientation, because in fact, the ecliptic is only the apparent move of the sun, because we are looking from Earth and it's always opposite, right? So in fact, the ecliptic is only is the path, the orbit of Earth around the sun.
Right. And always was relevant or
Yes.
relative to Earth. So
Yes.
when you shift to heliocentric perspective, is there a defined ecliptic? Do each planet have their own sort of path of travel that we see, or do we have to think about it differently?
It is, everything is calculated in reference to the ecliptic. And so in this sense, we always include how things are relevant for the path of Earth.
That makes sense.
Because we don't want to exclude Earth, right? We are here, we are incarnate, and we don't want to take that in any way away. But
right.
The orientation is a different one. It is you because the sun has a known path. The sun orbits the Milky Way, the galactic center, or maybe in wherever. So
another future episode that we'll just pause for now. What is the sun doing? What is he doing?
And so it's the sun who is leading the way within the galaxy for all our planets within, and whatever else there is, right? Every comet, every dwarf planet, every asteroid and centaur, and whatever else there may be, and dust particles and whatever. So it all goes with us, right?
It goes with the sun,
It's a totally different orientation, and suddenly you see, like, okay, just like we have nodes from the moon and Earth, you also have nodes from all the other planets with the in reference to the ecliptic. Some planets do cross orbits individually, and so they have, for the pair, they have some notes. But then we also have notes from the actual path of the sun with the ecliptic. So, or you could say with the coordinates of the galaxy, with the ecliptic. And so we can integrate many different aspects that are totally beyond what we would usually interpret in a geocentric chart. I don't say it's not possible to integrate them into a geocentric chart, but it's just, you don't have that distortion of view, not meant in a negative way. It's just that angle that remains when you look at it from the geocentric chart.
Right. Yes, I myself was first really drawn to heliocentric, astrology, because it explains certain features of my life at the level of lived experience that are, like, as an astrologer, I don't see these correlations in a geocentric chart. So it tells me the geocentric chart is rich and valuable, but it's not the whole story. And it tells me
Yes.
that when you take the bird's eye view, sort of step back and look at the to me, I think it might be repeating myself, but it's the earth in context, all information, we need context for it. That's what, it doesn't make sense. It has no value, and information has no value outside of its context. So I want to turn it back to you. I just wanted to make that observation that as a geocentric astrologer, there's amazing value in the heliocentric. So
what I noticed when I did some readings for clients, there are just very few themes, and it's individually different. Yeah, there can be one, sometimes it's 3 or 4, but usually it's not more. You have very few themes, and they repeat from different angles, from different perspectives, but it's always the same few themes. And I have seen some charts which they only show one theme, and that one from whatever angle you can imagine, to be able to look at it. And it's interesting, when you can narrow down to just a few themes, and then are able to, let's say, your life and your experiences, to see like what fits this theme, or what does it try to tell you in that context, and not in that which you usually may interpret it within a life. And then you suddenly see, oh, that's what it means. That's why I had that and that, or whatever experience. And you're gonna, and suddenly you can see even benefit in a certain experience, even if it was a bad one.
the jewel,
but then
you
can get it. You like, that's what it was. And so your whole reaction will change to it.
Yeah. I think the more we can understand in our own personal lives the context, and astrology I would include in that context the context of what's happening to us. Not only do our lives become more meaningful, but we can take those difficult, those like I mean, even horrid experience and find in it meaning, archetypal meaning about how we're evolving,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even what some of the value in these difficult experiences is. I do think astrology gives us that. That's the jewel. I think being able to just see whatever role we have to play at any individual time, maybe be difficult time, but we can see that in the context of like the greater human journey, because everything has meaning. The universe doesn't waste a lot of time or
Yes,
energy. It does
yes,
not.
true. On the other side, in a yin yang style,
Please.
we shall not forget that sometimes the good experiences or the good stuff, right, can hold some traps, right?
Oh,
And
you said it.
uh, it's as we like to say, it's not everything gold that is glittering, right? So,
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it can be turned. Everything can be turned or transformed into gold if you want.
And
So.
that's the alchemy that starts to happen when astrology. It's like a yogurt. It just takes a little bit in some milk, and it just takes over. Once you start to see how is astrology in your life, I think it just increasingly empowers people. I think that's
Hmm.
it's a
Hmm.
big part of why we're here. It's helped us on our personal journeys, and it helps us to help others. So um,
Yes.
great, yeah.
So I think it's time to share the screen, right?
Oh yeah,
And
let's do it.
have a visual of all of these things. So um, we start here with it's just a random, it's from the June solstice in 2023.
Mhm.
And please understand, in heliocentric view, the location is actually not really relevant. So
Location on Earth, right, is not
yes,
is not a
exactly.
factor.
So,
Right,
but it is of course relevant to time zone
right.
calculations, right?
So
So
yeah, I want to take 1 second, Fran, and just unpack this, just to introduce what people are looking at, which is two heliocentric charts of the same date, to show on the left we have the software that Fran is using, this Astrodienst, and on the right we have the software that I'm using. That's all. Thanks. I just want to kind of like put a note there.
okay, thank you for that. Um, yes, so as you can see, uh, it looks a bit different than usually charts most people are familiar with. But with Astrodienst, I have this possibility to use a method that is called Astrodienst fixed stars. And with that, we get an outline of some constellations, even though it's a sidereal calculation. I'm using the Nick Anthony Fiorenza zodiac, which is based on the galactic equator. So, as I said, different perspective, right?
Mhm.
So, and with that, it puts the galactic coordinates at 5 degrees, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius.
You're talking about the
And
the points, the cardinal points that are
yes,
marked?
it's the
Yeah.
cardinal points of the galactic coordinates. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the ecliptic. And as we are in special times right now, it is that our solstices on Earth are aligned with the galactic equator, and the equinoxes are aligned with the galactic poles, so South Pole and North Pole. And they do not lie on the ecliptic. They are, the South Pole would be down here somewhere. It's in the constellation Sculptor. And the North Pole, that would be up north here somewhere in the constellation Coma Berenices.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as you can see, here is the Earth Moon system. So Earth and Moon always conjunct, and down here is the galactic center, and you can see here the little black dots. These are all stars of the bow of Sagittarius, and this outer line here, that's the ecliptic. Yeah. So again, Earth orbit around the sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is there any, the only other thing I would want to know, if I were just totally unfamiliar with this, Fran, is what are these red lines out that are above and below the ecliptic? What do they symbolize?
This is you can see there are little red dots, right? And they mark the position of a planetary body. Yeah. So you can see here Mars, that is here the dot. Yeah. Very close to the ecliptic. And here a bit further south, that's Pallas, and a little further south, that is Orcus. And he is here in the constellation Hydra, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
Mars would be considered like in Leo. Sure. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Wonderful.
in the constellation Leo, because this one here, these two black dots here, they mark these two stars of Leo. So he is in the constellation Leo. Yeah.
Quite so. Quite
And
so.
just as you have here, Varuna is or was at that time conjoining or close to a little bit south of the star Decapoda of Cancer. Or here you have Juno, a little bit north here of Betelgeuse. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Lovely. That's a really great way to look at it, because the way most people are used to looking at charts, it doesn't show ecliptic latitude, which is what you're talking about, the distance north or south of the ecliptic. So it's really a great way of looking at things.
Yeah, I love that too. So I could not work without that, really. Yeah, I got very used to that, and in this sense attached to that view.
Yeah, understandably. So, is there anything else that you wanted to detail about the Astrodian sort of chart form, like what we're looking at when we look at that? Is there anything?
What I think is important to note is that you can't see any rising signs or
yeah,
midhaven, or you don't see a horizon or anything like that. Yeah, it's not there. You don't have that. Yeah,
the sun never sets on heliocentric astrology. So
yeah, I mean, the sun is it does have another perspective on it, because the sun sees other stars rising and setting as well, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's a different perspective, a different orientation. Yeah. And so it is when you look at the arcs that are built, they are they are very similar over a very long time. And so it is roughly around here over Pisces that you can see the heliocentric midhaven.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes an arc. And so it's like Orion is rising. And so, but it stays very similar over quite a long period of time.
Yeah, it would. And that's oriented to the galaxy, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's different, yeah, because the
Yeah,
path is
very
different.
much.
And
Mhm.
one important information in I think is that the direction where the sun is actually traveling towards to,
Oh,
that
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
somewhere up here, yeah, and
Right,
that
right.
point is called solar apex. Yeah.
Solar, or solar apex,
Yes.
potato, potato, potato. And you're talking about the sun as it orbits galactic center and whatever else
Yes.
it may be doing is
Yes.
moving through space, dragging the
Yes.
planets along with it, and the direction it's moving is
Yeah.
towards
And
is
so
north of Sag. Is that?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is roughly just between the constellation Hercules and Lyra.
Thank you. Thank you. That's lovely. Yeah,
Yeah.
powerful. There's so much here. I think we could probably we may have given people already enough to like watch twice and have to sort of process this and take it in. I think it was really a brand new. You'd think it'd be not so unfamiliar because it's sidereal astrology, but some of the things about heliocentric, some of the considerations, they take a little bit learning curve for I think many people just to become familiar and see how this works. So one of the goals of this podcast is to familiarize people and show people, why we'd go through the extra steps and what the value is, of course. So, Fran, what else would you like to offer on this heliocentric chart?
Yeah, what I would like to say, you just said that the sun is dragging everybody. And yes, but so when you see the Earth is on this Sagittarius side of of the ecliptic,
Ah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
then and the sun is traveling over there, then in this sense,
yeah.
the Earth is ahead of the sun
Yes, yes, yes.
in
The sun's
in the
yeah.
direction of the apex. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're leading the way right now, as it were.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
at incredible speeds. Yeah. So so
Yeah.
yeah, wonderful. That's a really three-dimensional and expanded way of looking at things. If you can like get that in your head that we're moving through the galaxy, we're moving through space, and we can know the direction, we know the orientation, we know the relationships and the poles of galaxy, we know the plane of galaxy, and we can create meaningful symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. And you, Michael, you gave me the same charts
Yes,
made
yes.
by or
Right.
plotted by Prometheus. And so I tried to draw in those points similar to what I did in the Astrology chart. And
Yes.
so please, can you get a bit
Mhm.
more into the Capricorn system to
Yeah.
explain?
Yeah, when I create heliocentric charts in Capricorn Prometheus, one thing you'll see is around the middle of the wheel, there are no house system like we see in most charts, like geocentric charts. Um, I'm not calculating the heliocentric in the same way. And one of the other differences in Prometheus is that the moon, which you can see on the left in the astro dance, you see moon above and earth below. It's all just absorbed into that earth symbol that you see up by the galactic center there in
Here,
Sagittarius.
that
Yeah, yeah,
green
thanks
thing
for that.
here, right?
Yes, yes, that's the earth moon. That's Earth and Moon, and for a while, just recently, we had another satellite orbiting us. We can think about it as a system. That's the Earth system, and we don't think about this a lot. But if you look at Pluto, just to the left. Pluto has a moon, almost. Let's see, how big is Charon? Charon is so big that the center of gravity between Pluto and Charon lies between. Tiberius center lies between in space between them, and they're a dual planet. So that's a system, right? Saturn has 200 some moons. We just discovered 128 new moons of Saturn. So we don't care, like you said. We just show Pluto and Saturn. And in that way, we just show Earth. But it's all otherwise pretty straightforward, except that you'll see even sign astrology. And I do that because to match up, just when Fran and I compare data, we don't like to translate from constellations to even sign. And when you use even sign sidereal, the even signs pretty roughly and well enough reflect the constellations. And if you know that Virgo and Pisces are expanded, and a Fucus crosses into Scorpio, it's really no problem to do these calculations, even though I am a pretty staunch constellational astrologer, and you may see a lot of 13 sign or uneven boundary or true sidereal charts in the course of this podcast. When we do the heliocentric, one of the easiest ways to pick up on that it's heliocentric is it's even sign. It's even sign. And there's not a lot in this heliocentric chart that we're looking at, the Capricorn Prometheus heliocentric chart, that really differs wildly from the structure of the geocentric charts that a lot of people see on my channel, that you haven't already touched on, Fran. I think you made good notes there. So
Okay.
yeah, you have a lot more to say on this one than I do. So I'm just gonna pass the torch back to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think the most important things we already covered, and yeah, so I will scroll down and we look at geocentric charts, and well, I just do it. You will see for yourself. Voila. Here we go. Yeah, same day. And you can see it looks pretty wild in comparison to the heliocentric one, right?
Yeah, a lot more information, I think, in both
Yeah.
charts. At first glance, a lot more visual information. Yeah.
Yes. So now we have obviously the sun sign here, right? So as I said, right opposition from the Earth. So that's the normal thing. When we remember, we had the Earth Moon system at just a little bit above and to the side of the galactic center, and now opposite at above of Orion, we have the sun. So as I said before, always opposite, right? So and of course we suddenly we have a horizon. We have, so in this sense, suddenly the location does matter. Yeah, where we are on Earth and look to where, and so it's all different. We suddenly have a midhaven. We have that horizon. We have an icy. And as I'm living in Chiang Mai, Thailand, I always plot all my charts for Chiang Mai. I'm sorry for everybody else, but this is only for explanations, and so it doesn't really matter. And
Yeah,
it's
I do the
already
same
a
thing.
few
I
years
do the
old.
same thing, Fran. I do the same thing, plotting them to my current location. I don't worry that most people don't live here. I just plot them. You got to plot them to somewhere. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just yeah, it's just worth mentioning, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, we suddenly have that locality that matters much more than we have that in the heliocentric view. And
Yeah.
so we have a descendant, so that these are the stars setting. We have an ascendant, or the rising stars. And we have, as I said, we have the IC here, Imun Koli, and we have the MC, the midhaven. And so we have that, how you call it, that polarity, if you want. Yeah. The highest, the midhaven, and the lowest, the IC.
Uh-huh.
And but everything is arcs. Yeah.
Mm.
So you can see that everything is is arc. It comes
Yeah.
from,
Mhm,
it's like rays, right?
mhm,
we
mhm.
we have that in everything. It comes from that spiraling motion, right?
Oh,
that
yes.
that we have everywhere. So everything is
Everywhere.
always in those arcs.
Mm.
And I think that is something that is very nicely shown in those charts here
Mhm,
at Astrodienst. And you have,
mhm.
again, you have the higher up, and I mean, north and south of the ecliptic, and where anything is located. Yeah.
Quite so,
So,
quite so.
mhm.
And these
But
other
I would like to give over to you. You are better in explaining all the geocentric stuff, and
I
so
wouldn't go
please
that
go
far.
ahead.
Fran, I have a quick question. I want before I
Yeah.
get started to just break down this chart structure, I want to turn it back and say these lines that are not the cardinal, like the MCIC ascendant descendant. Those other arc lines, are they the houses?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the 12 even sign house system we're looking at?
No, it's not even.
Okay, okay. So okay, we can cross those bridges later. There's a lot of ways to generate house system. I would like to I'll take the torch and explain this geocentric chart on the right that we're looking at. Um, it differs from Fran, it differs from yours in that I don't organize my houses in, and that's the inner wheel of the chart on the right, the inner rainbow wheel. I
Mm-hmm.
don't organize those in any particular arrangement to the angles. That's different from most people. Most people with the MC and IC define the 10th and 4th house, with the ascendant and
Mm-hmm.
descendant define the 1st and 7th house, and I don't. I use whole sign house system because it's the original house system. It's how ancient people first discovered and realized that house systems mattered at all. And I still think it's the most universally applicable house system that I've used to sort of tried them all at various times in my journey. So when you see the inner wheel, it's matching the outer wheel, and that's the way I look at houses. Um, Aside from that, we see a lot of data that isn't in yours in the lower right, which is combinations of planets and stars. So we can see when a planet is in the degree of a star, and the two together are interesting because your Astrodienst, Fran, shows the latitude, ecliptic latitude of stars. Like we talked about the white and red, or the red line north and south of the ecliptic. And on mine, it doesn't, but it shows the closeness to the degrees of stars, like all through the sky around the ecliptic. So that's more a matter of ecliptic longitude. But without getting overly technical, this is a chart from the point of view of the Earth and how things look in the sky from our perspective. So this is where we would find at this time on this date. Um, let's just pick an example where I see Saturn in Aquarius. And that is just to say, in this style of astrology, that when we talk about Saturn moving through Aquarius, if we got out telescopes and looked in the sky, we would actually see like Saturn right here in Aquarius. And some of Aquarius overlaps Capricorn, but this, you can see, actually you can see that great on the left there, Fran. You can see it great in the Astrodienst. That
Yeah,
whereas, yeah,
you can
Aquarius.
actually see the outline of the constellation. So if you run outside and when you can make up some stars, which is of course with Aquarius maybe a bit more difficult than with some
Mm,
constellations, you can see more readily in the
mhm.
sky than others,
Yeah.
but yeah, when you can run out and look at it, and oh, so that must be Saturn, or oh, this must be Mars, or yeah, whatever. So
Right, right.
um
So yeah, you can see the Saturn in Aquarius here matches really pretty precisely with Saturn in Aquarius on the other side, and
mhm.
that's just indicative of the sidereal astrology. Whether you do even sign sidereal or constellation or true sidereal, I've never in my life gotten excited about whose sidereal was better. I just don't prefer tropical. That's so. We like to talk about things as they are, right, in the real world, and the energies as they match with the physical. This is an important
Mhm.
dimension to us, the physical. We don't make it up or abstract it. We look at it the way it is. And with that, friend, do you have any questions? Anything I didn't cover on the chart on the right? Do you think there's anything I should mention that I didn't?
No, I think we covered it pretty all, yeah.
Yeah, we have so much time to get into, all the rest of it, galactic planes and all the stuff we mentioned that people might be going like, what? But we'll have time to unpack all that. If you're curious, please stay with us. This is a journey worth making.
So yeah, just as a teaser, I like to scroll down here a little bit and show you this diagram. Okay, so I would like to show you a little bit about that mentioned perspective or orientation that is different on with by using this little diagram. Yeah, you can see here is the galactic plane, and we have here what that Milky Way, right? So, and we have here yellow, the sun, and the sun is going around the Milky Way. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, once a little bit under the galactic plane and once above the galactic plane. And we see here Earth. So, the orbit of Earth is very tilted, yeah, in reverence to the galactic plane, and so we do have a different perspective onto everything than the sun has, because there is another angle from where we look at it or travel on or around that, the Milky Way or the galactic plane. And we will in the future go into more detail, into more depths about all these different views and the points we can see, and explain what it could, just the mechanics of it, the technical stuff, but also what we could philosophize about it and where it can take us. And so for that, I hope you will stay with us. I hope I could make you curious with all of that, and you will stay with us for future episodes to explore more also about this perspective, and maybe at times a little bit technical sounding parts, but they can also inspire to philosophical discussions. So yeah, I'm for sure looking forward to it.
Me too, Fran. And I think there's so much out of the, there's good technical understanding that will really benefit technically minded people. But it's our job, I think, to distill out of that the kind of kernels, the simple things that we can apply maybe to our looking at charts, maybe to our understanding the world we live in, maybe just they are just, abstract, philosophical abstractions, maybe at times. But I think that there will be a lot of time in the episodes ahead to really explore some of the richness. So that's just a little hint. That's just a little toe in the waters. It's oceanic, and I thank you. I thank you for all that visual and for breaking that the heliocentric down so wonderfully. Is there anything else? Anything else today that we wanted to talk about?
What I think is important to mention in this whole context is just like Michael and I have these opposite approaches in some ways, yeah, and one could say that there is a polarity, and there is a phrase I often use in my work and my writings, and that's is the collapse of the polarities. And I think it's important to understand that polarities, even though you have two poles somewhere, they are connected, they are an axis. Yeah.
Always.
And
Every polarity.
so the two become one. It is one axis and not two polarities. So it comes together, and there is always a two-way street in everything. It comes, it goes, and goes back and here and there. And so that is something I find important to note. And it's the collapse of the polarities, the integration that we want to provide here.
I love that. I love that. Collapsing polarities. Let's leave it there. Shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, join us on patreon.com, cosmos_Chthonia for more. And please do be in touch with us via the comment section here on YouTube, or, just share anything that you feel, questions, comments, or otherwise. We certainly invite that. And in the meantime, we'll be back to continue all this, and see you for the next installment soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. See you. Bye.